Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the influences on why, or what helped influence the colonists in creating this new government when they were so ticked off at the British. Okay, so there are two big thinkers that really started out these new political ideas about the relationship between people and their government that helped to justify the colonists' reaction and ultimately their rebellion. You've got John Locke and Thomas Paine. John Locke was an Enlightenment philosopher. Think back to World II, new ideas about science and government and the way that people interact. His ideas helped influence the American belief in self government more than any other philosopher that was around. So, John Locke's ideas, all people are created free, equal, and they have natural rights automatically given to them, can't be taken away, like life, liberty, and property. The government also gets its power from the people. So these ideas were very, very important, and they were kind of summarized in John Locke's um, in his pamphlet known as the Social Contract. So the social contract was an agreement among the people to form a government in order to protect their rights. Um, so the people promised to obey the laws and the rules established by the government so long as the government protected them. It established a system of ordered liberty so that everybody could get along and not really face a lot of issues. Um, So, within John Locke's ideas in the social contract were that the government power is limited to those people who have consented to give it. Um, so, basically, anybody who says they're a citizen, they are consenting to give that government power. Now, whenever the government becomes a threat to natural rights, that social contract is then broken. So, if the government takes away my property for no reason, the social contract between me and the government is broken. And then, therefore, the people have the right to get rid of that government by abolishing it or overthrowing it. Now, his ideas about sovereignty and the rights of people were incredibly radical. I mean, up until this point, you had monarchies where the king was the ultimate power, the king and parliament were the ultimate power. People didn't overthrow them. That was completely insane. Um, so it challenged that centuries old practice of dictatorial rule by kings, emperors, and tribal chieftains. It was completely revolutionary. But you can see how it attracted the colonists. They were like, wait a minute, the British have totally disrespected our rights. We've been over here in the colonies for over 100 years, and we don't have a voice. We don't have a say. And they've taken away our property. They've taken away our rights. So theoretically, under Locke's ideas, our social contract has been broken, and we can overthrow that government to create our own government. Next with Thomas Paine. He was an English immigrant and he produced a pamphlet known as Common Sense. So pamphlets were like mini books back in that time frame. Um, so Common Sense challenged the rule of the king of England and the colonies. It was like, wait a minute, we have no voice. This isn't fair. So Common Sense was read and acclaimed, which means that they really liked it, they spread the word that it was good, by many colonists during the mid 1700s. It contributed largely to the growing sentiment for independence from Great Britain. So, what's Paine trying to say? I've heard it asserted by some that as America hath flourished under her former connection with Great Britain, the same connection is necessary towards her future happiness, and will always have the same effect. Nothing can be more false than this kind of argument. So, what he's basically trying to say is that America, even though, like, in the past, it has spent a lot of time, like, growing and having a positive relationship with Great Britain, it doesn't mean that you have to have that same connection in order to survive. So Paine is saying, look, just because we've had past success with Britain doesn't mean we have to stay married now. So this was a completely revolutionary idea. Now, with this next argument, we have boasted the protection of Great Britain without considering that her motive was interest, not attachment, and that she did not protect us from our enemies on our account, but from her enemies on her own account. So basically, Great Britain is trying to say that, look, we're just protecting you, and we want this money to help pay for stuff we're doing for you. But Paine is arguing, look, Great Britain isn't actually protecting us. They want actual money from us. Like, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They want to be compensated for it. They want to be compensated with our undying devotion and unquestioning, like, money and everything. And all of it was done to protect Great Britain from her enemies. We had no problems with the French. It was all the British who had issues with the French. We could talk stuff out with them. So the colonists were starting to see that Britain was really focused on its own interests, not on the interests of the colonists. So again, but Britain is the parent country, say some. But then the more shame upon her conduct. Even brutes do not devour their young, nor savages make war upon their families. What he's saying is, okay, if Britain's our mother country, this is even worse. That's like a mother killing their children, or brother fighting brother on purpose. So it makes it even worse to make that argument. Small islands not capable of protecting themselves are the proper objects for kingdoms to take under their care. But there is something absurd in supposing a continent to be perpetually governed by an island. In no instance had nature made the satellite larger than its primary planet. So what he's saying is, look, Britain's kind of tiny, and they're saying that a whole continent should be controlled by them? Wait a minute, this size argument is really not working. Okay. What? Okay, so what does Thomas Paine think should be done? So if you want to stay loyal to England, he thought you should be a loyalist. If you want to start a rebellion, you could be considered a patriot. If you want to do absolutely nothing, you could be considered neutral. So the Loyalists were also known as Tories. They opposed independence. They were like, let's just stay loyal to the crown and the king. They believed taxation was justified in order to pay the British troops to protect the colonists. They're like, okay, it's only fair. The Patriots, on the other hand, those supported the revolution. They wanted complete independence from England. Patrick Henry, he was known for saying, give me liberty or give me death. Look, I don't want anything else. I want my freedom. I want my freedom to be able to make my own choices. I don't want to be taxed. Give me liberty. So the Patriots provided the troops for the American Army, which was led by George Washington. And then you got your neutrals, who tried to stay completely uninvolved in the war. They were like, I'm covering my eyes, I'm covering my ears, I don't want to hear about it, I don't want to do anything with it, I just want to stay out of it.